over the last few months, there's been a popular talking point on the right about woke corporations. I know. Woke corporations, specifically in this case, giving to Black Lives Matter. Oh no, Black Lives Matter. Now, unsurprisingly, this is based on lies. Because of course. Now, following the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, numerous conservative pundits blamed the failure on, well, I mean, what else did they blame it on?
The wokers.
Of course. And not SVB's focus on, for example, venture capitalists and startups, an overabundance of uninsured deposits, depreciated securities portfolio due to rising federal interest rates, the tech sector's overall downturn, as of, recently. No. It's none of that, though. None of those things. No. It's the woke. Because if you try to blame something else,
Can't let that happen.
No, you can't blame anything else except for the woke.
The wokers.
That's right. So facts don't matter, though, to them, because they pointed out the fact that the company had one black and one LGBTQ plus member on the board. Wow. Somehow that makes you so woke you go baroque. Instead of the executives making bad financial decisions, somehow it is the fault of wokeness. Right. Now, to try to make their case, numerous pundits, I'm going to show you a collection here of people on Fox News, and there's plenty more videos outside of this, claiming that it was SVB that gave millions and millions of dollars to Black Lives Matter, and that's why they're bad and failed.
Investigation into the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank as new data reveals that its board of directors were mega donors to Democrats and the Black Lives Matter movement.
Silicon Valley Bank donated more than $73 million to groups tied to Black Lives Matter.
It's a whopping $73 million to BLM-related groups.
Yeah, we had to bail this bank out. They've given millions of dollars in BLM initiatives and DEI initiatives.
Do you think she was going to go after the bank that donated $74 million to Black Lives Matter?
Indeed. Yes, I'm a very, very smart person. Yes. No, you're not. No. So all the stuff that they're saying turns out not true. SVB never gave a dime to that organization, to Black Lives Matter. So where did they get that talking point? Now, it turns out they got it from a racist organization called the Claremont Institute. It is a think tank that claims, by the way, that the United States is facing an existential threat from, quote unquote, third world invasion. It also claims things like diversity dissolving the country's unity, and that wokeness, identity politics, and multiculturalism seeks only to destroy the American way of life. Ah, yes, that Claremont Institute. They also claim, by the way, that Vice President Harris is not even a U.S. citizen. So basically, this is the modern birtherism. This organization also has a few staff issues and has awarded a fellowship to Jack Posobiec, who is a Pizzagate QAnon guy. So lovely. One of their senior fellows also happens to be John Eastman. Yes, that John Eastman, the former Trump lawyer who wrote the memo on how Trump could end our form of government by having him installed illegally back into power. So, yes. Now, an article labeled BLM's demands for anti-racism in workplaces. They had called this, and this was in Newsweek, a shakedown of corporate America. To shake down, everybody. Shakedown. Why not call it a stick-up? Armed robbery. Claremont, their Center for the American Way of Life, claimed in this Newsweek article that American corporations have pledged or contributed $82.9 billion over the last 3 years to Black Lives Matter. They noted that the figure is more than the GDP of 46 African countries, of which that is a random fact thrown in there for a specific purpose. Obviously. I'm not kidding. The racism here is dripping from them as if it's Rudy Giuliani's hair dye. Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, gotta hand it to them. At least they're open about it.
The Republican Party's racist.
All right. So now, the authors linked to CAW's new BLM Funding Database, which purports to reveal how much individual companies across corporate America have given to the Black Lives Matter movement and related causes. You're going to love what they consider to be a related cause. A general search of the database for SVB's donations to the BLM movement related causes produces a figure of, again, $70,650,000. Claremont itself admits the BLM movement consists of a limited number of official organizations, including the BLM PAC, BLM Grassroots, BLM at School, and any official BLM chapters, among a few other entities. But when you search their own database for SBV donations to any of those listed groups, what does it show? Nothing. So no money to those official groups in their own database. So where are they getting this? Where are they where are they pulling this out? Well, I think it's pretty obvious where they're pulling this out of. In its explanatory notes, Claremont defines BLM, a BLM-related cause, I should say, as all organizations and initiatives that advance one or more aspects of BLM's agenda. Oh, so basically just casting a net on pretty much everything. Very, very subjective here, very vague, very open. But wait, what do they define as BLM's agenda? You're going to love this. Apparently, the agenda of Black Lives Matter is to, quote, undermine capitalism, the nation state, and Western civilization. Come on. Really? And they're claiming, these woke corporations have been, bullied and into donating massive amounts of money to an organization that, in their words, wants to undermine capitalism? What? Really? Come on. Here's some examples, by the way, of that from Popular Information. Access to Innovation, a fellowship program launched by SVB itself. So they did do some, charitable giving, right? This is to aid Black, Latinx, and women professionals looking to launch their careers in venture capital. Does that sound like undermining capitalism to you? Teaching people how to launch careers in venture capital? I mean, forgetting the obvious source. Come on. Okay. Now, the database also points to another $20 million SVB supposedly gave to a BLM-related cause, but then indicates those dollars supported COVID-19 relief, a needs-based university scholarship program to students at 4 universities, including 2 HBCUs, and economic development and diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts through 2022. All the scholarships were open to anyone who met established financial and academic eligibility requirements. Okay. Now, it's not just SVB either. Apparently, the database claims that Bank of America is funding the woke.
The wokers.
Claremont's database claims $18 billion in BLM and related cause donations. Although, according to TPM's Josh Marshall, found that Bank of America had earmarked $1.8 billion in housing and business loans to minority communities. So that's loans. Loans are money that has to be paid back with interest. How does giving loans to, again, people who want to get housing in, again, minority communities, how's that undermining capitalism? That's weird. That's very strange. Okay, what about Kellogg's, the cereal? What does Claremont have to say about the maker of your favorite breakfast cereals? Apparently those are too woke too. They claim the company gave $91 million to Black Lives Matter and related causes. Although none of them were really Black Lives Matter. There's a mix of groups doing some good things, including one called Healing Through Justice, which apparently addresses trauma and mental health issues in Black and brown kids from underserved communities in Chicago. Oh my God, Black Lives Matter. You're going to help children's mental health? You must be undermining capitalism and Western civilization. It is apparently a Marxist plot to destroy the country. Again, this is what they describe. Any, Black Lives Matter and any apparent related organization or anything like that as their mission to undermine capitalism, the nation state, and Western civilization. No, this is so incredibly dishonest, and that's the whole point. They get funded by massive amounts of dark money while also complaining, apparently, about these companies, so-called woke corporations, which, by the way, engage in a lot of rainbow washing, a lot of greenwashing, a lot of pandering to minority, disaffected communities, while actually funding the politicians who make life worse for those very groups. So, woke corporations. Jesus Christ. Again, dishonest, but they complain about this while at the same time, they actually get massive amounts of dark money from organizations, for example, Donors Trust. Donors Trust, funded a lot by the Koch brothers, or Koch brother, Koch Industries, and other large conservative billionaires. And by the way, Donors Trust has filed numerous amicus briefs in court, such as Moore versus Harper, which literally undermines democracy, and New York State Rifle and Pistol Associations versus Bruin, which challenges gun control laws. So to try to actually get rid of gun laws. And that's not even getting to Claremont's president, a man named Ryan Williams, who had this banger of a quote. He said, "The founders were pretty unanimous, with Washington leading the way, that the Constitution is really only fit for a Christian people." What? Wait, the same founders that wrote the Establishment Clause, saying that you shall not establish a religion or prohibit the free exercise thereof in this country. The whole idea behind the separation of church and state that we enjoy in this country. That Washington apparently saying the Constitution that we wrote to put essentially a wall of separation, well, it's only there fit for a Christian people. More and more lies. So many lies. But you have to understand, this is the kind of organization where Fox News and a lot of the right get their talking points from these incredibly wealthy, billionaire, dark money funded think tanks to come up with just obvious propaganda. And you saw all the different, hosts that I mentioned, and there's so many more that are parroting their talking points to the letter. And so this is what they do. This is how those, it is very, very well funded. Ironic, right? Because it's all projection. Machine, organization that doles out money and talking points for their own agenda. But apparently for them, every accusation, I keep saying it, is a confession.